Here we go. I got Austin Street's Neverender, which kind of looks like the new Netflix logo. So Austin Street is the brewery in Portland, Maine. They just opened another location right next to Rising Tide that's more close to Portland proper. They still are in the industrial park, One Industrial Way over by Allagash. It's kind of on the edge of Portland. So this is their double IPA that I've actually had every year's iteration of. They first did it 2 years ago, and I think it was all Topaz. Then last year they started canning it, and it's Galaxy and Topaz, and they say they haven't changed the recipe. So yeah, it's still Galaxy Topaz, Pilsner malt, and malted wheat. I remember this being one of the haziest, palest beers, like so pale it's almost white, almost like a Belgian white ale. It's 8% alcohol. This was canned 18 days ago. And I remember it being a little bit on the bitter, dry, slightly green side from the Galaxy. We'll see how this batch is. Yeah, it's not insanely hazy. They said that I think the first batch they did this year was not very hazy, and they did a few things to make it a little better. And then they said also they've been letting it sit in the bright tanks a little bit longer to take off some of the edge, some of the bite that you might get from more haze than this. But it's looking pretty good. Very nice head. Still an explosive aroma. These Australian hops, they're just so herbaceous. It's just like all these different green aromas packed in there, but it's not unpleasant green qualities. It's not all onion and menthol. It's almost hard to pick it out. There are some slight minty herbal things, kind of like a minty green tea maybe. Yeah. Slight almost Ricola type thing, but not medicinal. And some hints of cotton candy stuff and unripe tropical fruits. Definitely grapefruit though. I would say grapefruit is one of the strongest fruits in the aroma. Whew. That packs a punch. Noticing a little bit of booze. This is my first beer of the day, and it's probably not the best beer to have as the first beer of the day because it's pretty intense. I think I got this beer and the Bissell Brothers Swish and shared them with some people last year in California, and they all were actually more impressed by the Austin Street than the Swish. And that's when this was even like a month old. Last year's was a little bit more hazy, but there's plenty of haze in this, and there might be some on the bottom of the can. Yeah, it doesn't seem quite as pale as last year, but still very pale. And even it's probably better this way. It's probably more palatable with a little less haze, because the more haze it'll just make it chalkier and seem more bitter and dry, and it's definitely bitter and dry enough here. They have to actually do some boiling of the hops and getting measurable IBUs in this because it's real bitter. Mouth feels pretty full. Somewhat soft. There is a little bit of a chalky drying on the tongue, but whoa, it's almost too much for me. That's what I said about this beer. I think I like the first batch the most. It was a little different with all Topaz. I think Galaxy's a little more in your face. I might prefer it more with Topaz, and there's some heat in the throat. Yeah, I'll have to think about this. Maybe I'll feel a little differently about it when it's a little older. I guess 18 days old isn't, hyper fresh, but I feel like I might like this more if it loses some bitterness after a month or two in the can, honestly. And I rarely say that. Let's see if there's some more haze on the bottom of there I can pour in. Not really. But it does have a really nice glow to it. I'll give this 4.25 probably. I really like the first year's batch. They did that draft only. I even gave that like a 4.75 or something like that, really high. But as I've been saying in some reviews, is that I'm just kind of getting tired of Galaxy. It makes things too bitter and herbaceous to my tastes. Notice I'm not talking about fruits in this one. I guess it's really bitter grapefruit pith and all that, but it doesn't have, you know, a really interesting juicy character to it unless you're just drinking straight up white grapefruit juice, which a lot of people don't like doing that. That's what this is like. I should check out other reviews of this batch and see what people think. I mean, it's definitely formidable, really well made. There are no flaws or anything. You just have to want this kind of smack in the face with green herbs. But yep, a nice beer. That's it. Goodbye.